On this episode, we've got 4 movie reviews coming for you, a new Rogue One trailer, and wait, Mary Jane is black? All this and more on the Geek Junkie podcast.
It's a plane! It's Superman!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Geek Junkie podcast. I'm your host, Corey, and joining me is my sci-fi aficionado and brother, Scott.
Yes, I'm here.
And everyone's favorite neighborhood geek, Mr. Rogers. Dallin, how are you?
I'm great. I am so stoked to be back here. I'm so excited I actually wore my Captain America underpants today.
Okay, I just wore normal underpants.
I am not wearing underpants.
So you're kind of going
I'm from
commando.
the future. I'm from the future. We don't wear underpants.
You're going howling commando.
There's no howling.
No, that was a bad Marvel joke. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into things here. It's been a little bit since we've actually met to talk about things, and in that time, some big news has dropped, but some big movies have dropped as well, and that's what we want to talk about first today. We're going to start off with a movie that we've all seen, Suicide Squad.
Yes.
From Warner Brothers Entertainment, DC animated, or not animated,
Extended
DC,
Universe.
Yeah, Extended Universe. Is that what they're calling it? I thought it was Entertainment Universe.
Sure.
Whatever. The DCEU.
There you go.
And they came out with this one in August. Everybody was really hopeful that after Batman v Superman's kind of poor reviews and poor performance, which, by the way, it still made more than Iron Man 2 did, or the Hulk did, or Iron Man 1 did, apparently, according to...
Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
It's not hard to beat the Hulk and Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Well,
but
Iron Man 2 was pretty big.
I think so. That I saw that online where it's like, oh yeah, the first 3 movies from the DC Entertainment Universe have made more than the first 3 movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm like, well, that was back in 2008.
It's also because Marvel set everything up
exactly.
for superhero movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. But let's talk about Suicide Squad specifically, starring Will Smith, Margot Robbie, a bunch of other people you don't know, and our favorite character, Slipknot, I'm sure everybody loves.
Wrong.
Oh, jeez. We've got Margot Robbie, Suicide Squad. Why am I, like...
I don't know. What's the matter with you today?
I think sexy Monica is working on you.
Yeah, I'm a little too drunk, apparently, already. I shouldn't be drinking while I'm trying to host the podcast. I'm running us into the river here.
That's a good PSA? Don't drink and podcast at the same time? You can listen to us while you're drinking.
That's okay, unless you're
that
driving.
might make us more entertaining to you.
No, the Suicide Squad is a group also known as Task Force X that is brought together by...
Do they even reference that in the show?
Yes, they do. They call it Task Force S and X. And then Will Smith calls them the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the only reference to Suicide Squad other than the...
You said the title.
What's some kind of Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad. Yeah, welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth.
But basically, these are convicts with microchips in their head to keep them straight or dead, whichever one.
Micro explosives are tiny little bombs they implant in them. So
you run away, you die.
Yeah. You do anything that vexes me, you die. Yeah, exactly. And then they have to go and they fight a generic bad guy who uses magic.
Well, yeah.
So, what'd you guys think of it?
I'd say critics are a little too hard on this movie, first off. They gave it some really poor reviews. I just went in not expecting much because I knew Batman v Superman. I was thinking it'd be somewhere along those lines, maybe a little bit lighter. It's pleasantly surprised me. It wasn't great by any means. There's definitely things wrong with the movie, but overall it was okay. I'd say maybe a 6 or a 7.
I feel like there was some pacing issues, some lack of character development on it. I still had fun, though. There were some pretty good parts in it that I really did enjoy. I thought Margot Robbie nailed Harley Quinn.
She did an amazing job.
Will Smith is Deadshot. Could take it or leave it. Doesn't really...
He was Will Smith. He was the same Will Smith in every role.
He was playing Agent K, a.k.a. Deadshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
The rest of the characters, you don't get to know them enough. You don't get to feel for them. I had no feelings for Rick Flag and his relationship with Enchantress.
Or El Diablo and his struggle.
Yeah, by the way, we're spoiling this. If you haven't seen it, skip
that's right.
forward a little
It's
bit.
been,
But
yeah,
it's been out
about
a minute.
2 weeks and everything.
More than that, like 3 or 4 weeks.
Jeez, we haven't recorded in a while.
Yeah, it was August 4th that it came out.
It really felt like all of the characters just didn't feel fleshed out. Like you were watching a 2D movie without it being animated, you know?
Yeah.
Why was Killer Croc in there? He served no purpose.
Because he could swim in the sewers when nobody else could. That's pretty much
Except
it.
for the whole other team of people swimming in the sewers in front
but
of them.
none of them are main characters. They're not going
Right.
to survive.
Again, like, I thought Rick Flag was a terrible character. I did not like him whatsoever.
Yeah,
And
I think he was kind of dumb.
Someone needs to teach him how to not mumble everything he says.
The actor, right?
The actor, yes. He
I
mumbles.
guess Rick Flag, too.
Yeah, well.
That's all we know about Rick Flag. Is he mumbles.
He mumbled almost every one of his lines, and it was terrible. Terrible. And Enchantress was... She would have been a good villain if they could have fleshed it out a little more.
Yeah, well, so okay. I'm going to talk about the Enchantress because I'm a sucker for magic.
Right.
And when you see her transform for the first time, and she's got her hand, and the other hand comes up and like twists around, and suddenly she's this evil witch. I was like, this is really cool. They're going to do good things with this character.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
Yeah, and then they just took her and made her this stupid sex symbol that had nothing to do in the movie other than to kiss guys to make them her slaves. And they made her this kind of generic, I'm going to rule the world with this vague device. I don't even think they name it. She just says, I'm building a device,
A machine.
I'm building
a machine.
I'm building the MacGuffin is what she should have been saying. Because that's all it felt like to me. She didn't have any other... And her brother, which could have been a really cool interaction between the two of them, he was just kind of this dumb, brute, big guy that just... wanders around everywhere going... Rrr.
My biggest question, why was there even a villain in this movie? It's a movie full of villains. They don't need a bad guy.
It's true.
Have it be a heist movie.
They do need one. They do need a villain.
Okay.
Because Suicide Squad in the comics is Amanda Waller creates this team to go and combat threats that the army can't or that regular humans can't. Yes, they're villains, but that's for plausible deniability. If they fail or they do something crazy, she can just be like, "Oh, they're bad guys. We have no control. We didn't. What?
I don't understand why they did that."
He can throw them under the bus, basically. Yeah. But they couldn't make. I mean, it kind of was a heist movie. I mean, they kind of had a hostage. They had to go, or someone locked in the room.
And then they went to become the Guardians of the Galaxy.
All that aside, all the Enchantress stuff, and let's talk about the biggest, most controversial part of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, we're skirting around it.
The Joker. Or lack thereof.
There would have been a really good villain right there.
Yes.
He would have been an amazing villain for the whole thing. Like, have this other threat going on that, yes, they finish the mission. They get Amanda Waller out, and that's how they complete that. Spoiler alert. We already said that, so I don't even have to worry. And then the Joker screws everything up.
Yep.
And they have to go, and the rest of the movie is hunting down the Joker to fix what.
And
he
Harley
broke.
has to choose. Has to choose between the Joker that has let her rot in prison for a long time, apparently, versus the people that have just been saving her life and she's becoming attached to. And
so that's something that they really didn't focus on either, was the relationship between the two of them. Because normally it's the Joker beats her up a lot and she's still in love with him. It's this a classic abusive relationship that's supposed to be like, hey, here's a relatable character. She's not, she may be a psychiatrist, but she can't see past her own issues.
Right.
Kind of thing. And they just turned it into a sappy love story between two crazy people.
My biggest problem with their story is right off the bat, she's obsessed with Joker. It doesn't explain why. I wish it showed more of those therapy sessions.
You're right. The very first scene you see of him and her in the therapy thing, he's just like,
I need a gun.
And she's like,
yes,
okay,
sure, let's make out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's such a good character that they just wasted, both in Harley Quinn and in the Joker. Like I think they said they shot maybe 45 minutes of footage for the Joker and used about 17.
If that.
Yeah.
More like 7, probably.
I think even Jared Leto came out and said they lied to me when they said I was playing the Joker. Like, they thought I thought I was going to have a bigger
taking
role.
everything Jared Leto says with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because he's acting fucking weird when it comes to all this stuff that he does in the show. You know, things like sending rats to his coworkers, and he's trying to become a method actor, and just whatever. Stop. I don't care. I really don't care what his opinion is. I do agree, however, that it was talked up to be. If you watch the trailers, it's like 50% Joker.
Yeah, it's like Joker, 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 and then
it becomes like 10% maybe.
And then we get the Seductress as our villain.
So I have a problem with DCEU right now, and I have a feeling that this is how they're going to do almost all their movies, and I do not want this. I don't want to go see a movie and have it be mediocre, and then have them go, well, whoa, that's not the real movie. Here's the real movie with the collector's edition.
Yeah.
Here's the ultimate cut. Yeah. I don't want that. Stop. Don't do that.
Exactly.
That is going to get tiring very fast.
I think the big problem is that the director is being fought by the studio itself.
Yeah, they're coming in and saying, okay, this cut's all right. Here's 7 things we want you to change. By the way, Deadpool just came out. Throw a unicorn into the movie and call it good.
yeah, exactly. Like that, it really did feel like a bunch of movies kind of smushed together.
I think there was like 2 editors. So you had like the director's cut, and that was your first edition that you saw, and then WB got a hold of it. They said, hey, we're going to put another film editor in there. So it feels like you have 2 cuts of the same film at the same time.
I don't know why they are letting Warner Brothers executives or whoever tamper with these things. Give it over to the animated side. The animated movies that DC makes are amazing.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. We tote them all the time. You need to go watch them.
I just watched
awesome.
Assault on Arkham today, actually.
And it's good.
It was amazing.
It's so good.
You want to see a good Suicide Squad movie?
That's the one you need to
go
watch.
watch Assault on Arkham. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say this too. It sounds like we're crapping on the movie and just saying it's horrible. It's really not. It's not that bad. These are just our problems we have with it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good. Like, I really liked Jared Leto's Joker. It seemed to me more almost like a Mark Hamill approach to it. There were some really good scenes where you see and you're like, that's straight off a comic page.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few, like, they even had straight off a comic book cover in there with Harley Quinn and Joker dancing together, and she was wearing her full Harley Quinn outfit, and he was wearing his fancy suit. It's straight off of a comic cover, and that was pretty cool.
Again, Margot Robbie, amazing as Harley Quinn. I was a little nervous at first because I only know the animated version of Harley Quinn.
Yep.
And she's a lot different than I saw from at least the trailers, but she pulled it off. She really did.
Exactly.
She didn't try to go full on Harley Quinn accent, which is a good idea.
She did a little bit though, if you notice it.
Right. But she didn't try to do the whole thing because it's a little cheasy for a live action movie.
It really would be.
Jai Courtney playing Boomerang.
Yeah.
I liked him.
I thought he did pretty good. Yeah.
For
most of the stuff that I didn't like about him, the unicorn, basically, the fact that he's apparently a brony and everything, that was
which
you can tell that was
you're right.
tampering.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They just threw it in because of Deadpool.
Yeah, they're like, hey, Deadpool does really good. Let's throw in some unicorn comedy.
Yeah, and that's
the part you take from Deadpool.
It was
apparently.
10 seconds of it, and then it was never heard of it.
It was
again, never
pointless,
saw it again.
and I literally looked over at my wife and I went, "Oh, great! Here's the Deadpool thing. They're throwing that in." It pulled me out of the movie. I was really invested. That pulled me right out, and I went, "Yeah, this
just
is
like
WB.
a Stan Lee cameo."
But let's talk about Slipknot.
Oh yeah, the best.
Wow! Don't stop yelling. Yeah.
I have no control over my vocal levels right now, guys. So no, let's talk about our favorite character in the whole movie.
Missing
he gets
head.
one line that's basically "I'm with you," and then I love how they introduce him. So
his power is he can climb anything.
He's an Eagle Scout.
It wasn't even like he's a master of ropes and all that kind of stuff. It's just he can climb anything.
Yeah. And they introduce the rest of the cast in this really cool fashion of they list their name and their accomplishments or demerits or whatever you want to call them, and it's stylistic and everything, and then all of a sudden this guy pulls up and comes out and punches a female cop.
Lady. Yep.
And and then the guy goes, "That's Slipknot. He can go through anything, or he can climb up anything." And you're just like, okay, well, this guy's here to die. There is no other reason for it.
But as far as that went, he played the perfect role of exploding head guy.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing is, as a director, it's like a rule that you learn. One of the first rules you learn in film school: don't introduce any characters after the first act. If you introduce them too late, nobody cares about them, and they know they're just there to die.
Exactly. Another character